G'day and welcome back to more Cowbell, please. I'm Ainsley. Today we're stepping back to the Michael Tate story. Yesterday, the Newsboys announced that they have filed a federal lawsuit in a Nashville court. Let's break it down block by block. I'm going to tell you what's being alleged and claimed. I'm not going to tell you what I think is true. That's for the courts to decide. Section 1. What is this and who filed it? The case is Thriving Children Advocates versus Waterland Equity Investments, et al. Okay, there's a lot of people attached to this. This is a jury trial demand, which means the plaintiffs, where's the Newsboys, etc., are asking for a jury, not just a judge to decide the case. They believe a jury hearing their story works better for them. The parties bringing this case, Wesley Campbell, he's the owner of Newsboys, co-founder. Newsboys Inc., Newsboys Touring LLC, their business entities, Thriving Children's Advocates LLC, and Thriving Charities Advocates LLC. They are Campbell's non-profit fundraising businesses who have appeared at CCM concerts connecting fans with child sponsorship causes. Okay, there's 5 entities in all for the plaintiffs. Now, who are the defendants? All right, we're going to go block by block. They're broken down into 4 distinct groups of defendants. The first one is the concert promotion defendants. All right, this group is made up of Waterford Private Equity Investments, a Netherlands private equity company, Christian Lund Madsden and Nicholas Goodberg. These are individual executives with that company. US Live OpCo, doing business as LiveCo and TPR, US Live LLC, US Live Holding LLC, US Live Intermediate Holdco, Brian Becker, who is named individually, TPR LLC, Premier Holdings, Michael Pugh and Shane Quick, named individually, US Rush Live, Rush Concerts, Jacob Reiser, named individually, US Live Transparent, and Transparent Productions LLC, Transparent Processing LLC, and Timothy Tabor is named individually. Okay, that's a lot of names. Let's get into the plain English of what's alleged. The complaint claims that Premier Productions, Rush Concerts, and Transparent Productions, 3 major Christian concert promotion companies, were acquired by the same entity in near simultaneous transactions, consolidating them into a single dominant force in Christian concert promotion. The complaint calls that entity LiveCo/TPR. The acquisition is alleged to have been funded and orchestrated by Waterland Private Equity. Remember the Netherlands connection I mentioned at the beginning of this group? The complaint draws a comparison to the formation of Live Nation, the big conglomerate live touring company that dominates the mainstream world. It has actually faced antitrust scrutiny also. The lawsuit alleges the same playbook was run in the Christian concert market. The claim is that this consolidation created a monopoly in Christian concert promotion, and that monopoly was used to systematically exclude Campbell and the Newsboys from the market. To be clear, this is what the plaintiff alleges. The defendants have not responded publicly. Some of the acts on TPR are Forrest Frank, MercyMe, We the Kingdom. Okay, defendant group number 2. This is the group that's going to be most familiar to you. Okay, the named defendants are the Roy's Report, Julie Roy's, and Jessica Morris. The Roy's Report is a not-for-profit, by the way. You recall Jessica Morris was a guest on my channel. We sat down and talked about her reporting in detail. The complaint alleges that the Roy's Report, Julie Roy's, and Jessica Morris published defamatory articles in 25 and 26. Specifically, the complaint focuses on their reporting around the 2014 incident in Fargo, Dakota. The case involves a female Newsboys contractor and a crew member named Matthew. Check out that episode if you want to get into that full story and my questions that I asked her. The complaint dedicates the opening section to 3 specific claims about that incident. Number 1, that Nicole told the police that the encounter was consensual. The complaint argues that a contemporaneous police report by the Fargo Police Department documented the woman, referred to as Nicole, as stating that the encounter was consensual. The complaint alleges the TRR articles, that's the Roy's Report, did not publish those statements. B, Nicole was not drugged. The complaint argues that the same police report found no indication of date rape drug being used. And C, that there was no cover-up, because there was nothing to cover up. The complaint disputes TRR's characterization of the Newsboys management's response to that incident. The complaint also alleges that the Roy's report's characterization of the event has changed over time, and that this change happened under the circumstance connected to the defendant's later alignment with LiveCo and TRR, the concert promoters. In other words, the lawsuit is claiming that the reporting was not independent. It was allegedly connected to the commercial interests of the concert promotion monopoly described in Defendant Group 1. Overnight, Julie Roys and Jessica Morris have gone on the record with a podcast, which you can find on their website. They have not been served at this point, which is interesting. And they do dispute, obviously, many of the things in the claims that are made in the lawsuit. So we will get to that in a podcast I'm going to do tomorrow. Defendant Group number 3, MercyMe and Micah Tyler. Now that is surprising. The name Defendants Group is MercyMe, Bart Millard, Robbie Schaefer, Nathan Cochran, Mike Schauser, Scott Brickell, Brickhouse Entertainment, that's Scott's company, and Micah Bernard, which is Micah Tyler. These are some of the most respected names in contemporary Christian music. Every one of them is named as a defendant in this federal lawsuit. What's alleged? The complaint claims that these parties had contractual relationships with Campbell-affiliated companies, specifically the charity Thriving Children's Advocates, and that they breached those contracts. The complaint further alleges that these breaches were induced by LiveCo and TPR, part of the broader monopolistic scheme, and to separate artists from the Campbell's non-profit fundraising operations, and to consolidate their charitable revenue stream under TPR's control. Here's a detail that puts everything into focus. Waterland had actually offered Campbell $50 million for the Thriving Children's Advocate charity. Campbell had accepted, and Waterland asked for a few days to raise the capital to close the deal. During that time, Campbell claims that he had handed over all the confidential details of how the operation worked to Waterland. Their artist relationships, their confidential deals. Then Waterland walked away from the deal. The complaint alleges that Waterland then went on and built the same thing themselves. World Vision. World Vision is one of the largest Christian humanitarian nonprofits. The complaint alleges that World Vision had a financial arrangement with LiveCo and TPR, that it grants exclusive or near exclusive rights to raise charitable funds at CCM concerts promoted by LiveCo TPR. The claim is that this arrangement squeezed out other nonprofit options at those concerts, including Campbell's Thriving Children. Why the timing matters. Here's something I want you to hold in memory. On April the 3rd, 2026, 14 days before the live suit was filed, the Roy's Report published its most recent Michael Tate article. In that piece, the Brentwood, Tennessee Police Department told TRR they did not believe there's a viable, prosecutable criminal case in their jurisdiction. Most of the alleged incidents were outside of their jurisdiction or past Tennessee's statute of limitations. The case was passed to the Williamson County District Attorney for further review, though. The victims were being told their criminal path is likely closed. 14 days later, this lawsuit is filed. I want to tell you, I did have knowledge that this lawsuit was coming, going back as far as September last year. I'm surprised it took this long to be filed, but now with that Brentwood case being closed, perhaps it explains the timing. But it didn't come out of nowhere. Okay, Jessica Morris's response. She posted on Insta last night, and I'm going to read it for you exactly as she wrote it. She said, in case you missed it, I can't post publicly about anything, but rest assured I'm okay. I feel at peace and all will be well. I'm also one of many people listed who are much bigger and more influential than me. Any prayers appreciated, but no need for anxiety. And she shared the Newsboys press statement announcing the lawsuit. Jessica Morris came on the channel, allowed me to ask her the hard probing questions, and she conducted herself with transparency and professionalism. Only got mad at me once, Okay, the Newsboys Statement. The complaint's official press release published at newsboyslawsuit.com notes that the Newsboys have not performed a single concert since July 2025, 9 months of silence. The statement says, on advice of counsel, the organization has chosen not to comment beyond the filing itself. Okay, what this lawsuit is it's not a trial of Michael Tate. He is neither a plaintiff nor a defendant. He is not named in the complaint. You may recall his own Instagram statement, which he calls his confession, in which he has said his behavior was largely true, that he abused cocaine and alcohol, and that he touched men in an unwanted sensual way. The statement stands exactly as it was. The lawsuit does not address or contradict or remove that public admission. The victims, the men and women who came forward publicly, are also not named in this lawsuit. Their accounts and legal options, including any future civil lawsuits that they may file, remain entirely separate from this. This, at its core, is a business dispute with a defamation component, filed by the people who ran the Newsboys organization, and it will be decided by the legal system. So in closing, that's where we are. It's a federal complaint, 204 pages, filed in Nashville. A European private equity firm accused of making a monopoly in Christian concert promotion space. The Roy's Report and Jessica Morris named as defendants. MercyMe and Micah Tyler named for contract breaches. And World Vision accused of an exclusive revenue sharing agreement. It's complicated. I'm trying to give you the blocks. As always, all the links are in the description, the complaint itself, the press release, the Roy's Report articles. You can read the primary sources for yourself. I'm not going to tell you what I think about this. I think there's two sides to every story. I think both sides' stories need to be heard, and the court is where that's going to happen. I really wish there was no court case. I wish none of this had happened. But when there's something new and significant and factual, I'll bring it to you. A lot's happened in the 36 hours since the Newsboys put this press release out and the lawsuit was made public. Julie Roys and Jessica had a podcast. Variety have a very interesting article out there. Of course, there's a ton of reaction and posts, and I'm going to cover it all, hopefully in a post that I can do later today or in the morning. And if you're worried about the reputational damage to Christian music, to Christianity, to the church, to faith, God's got this. He's way bigger than all of this. I pray for everybody involved. This isn't what life's about. This is a business dispute. This is stuff that's got nothing to do with Jesus and salvation. So don't be too stressed about all of that. Have peace. I'll be back soon, and make sure you put good things in your ears.